Picture this: Rome, the Ides of March, 44 BC. In the heart of the Senate, the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar, collapses. He's been stabbed 23 times by his own colleagues, his friends. Leading the charge are Brutus and Cassius, men who called themselves liberators. They believed they had just saved the Roman Republic from a dictator. They expected the people to erupt in cheers, to thank them for restoring freedom. But the streets remained silent. Instead of celebration, a chilling fear swept through Rome. The people didn't see liberation. They saw a return to chaos. They remembered the years of bloody civil war before Caesar brought stability. They remembered the victories he won for Rome, the grand building projects, and most importantly, the bread he put in their mouths. They missed their dictator. This unease turned to fury at Caesar's funeral. His loyal general, Mark Antony, stood before the crowd and read Caesar's will. It was a political masterstroke. Caesar hadn't just been a ruler, he had been a father to Rome. He left his personal gardens to the people as a public park, and a small fortune to every single citizen. Hearing this, the crowd exploded. Rome was now a tinderbox, and Antony had just lit the match. The liberators were now seen as traitors. A furious mob hunted them through the streets, burning down their homes. Brutus and Cassius were forced to flee for their lives. Their dream of a restored republic had died in a single afternoon. And in the vacuum they created, a new player emerged, one nobody saw coming. Enter Gaius Octavius, Caesar's grandnephew. He was just a teenager, barely 18 years old, studying abroad when he heard the news. But Caesar's will didn't just leave money to the people. It adopted Octavius as his son. Overnight, the boy inherited the most powerful name in Rome, Caesar. He was now Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, and he had a legacy to claim and a father to avenge. Octavian was brilliant, ruthless, and politically savvy beyond his years. He returned to Rome and formed a terrifying alliance with Mark Antony and another general, Lepidus. They called it the Second Triumvirate, a three-man dictatorship. Their first order of business? Revenge. They issued proscriptions, official death lists of their enemies. Hundreds of senators and wealthy citizens were hunted down and executed, their property seized. The great orator Cicero, who had spoken out against tyranny, had his head and hands displayed in the very forum where he once inspired crowds. The final showdown with Caesar's assassins came 2 years later at the Battle of Philippi. On the plains of Greece, the armies of Octavian and Antony clashed with the forces of Brutus and Cassius. The liberators were utterly crushed. Facing capture, both Brutus and Cassius took their own lives, choosing death over dishonor. In the end, Idias said that not a single one of the 60 conspirators who killed Caesar died of old age. Every last one was hunted down and killed. But the bloodshed wasn't over. With their common enemies gone, the victors turned on each other. The Roman world was split between Octavian in the west and Antony in the east, where he had allied with the Queen of Egypt, Cleopatra. The final, inevitable civil war culminated in the epic naval battle of Actium in 31 BC. Octavian's fleet, commanded by his genius Admiral Agrippa, annihilated the combined forces of Antony and Cleopatra. The lovers fled back to Egypt, where they too committed suicide. At just 32 years old, Octavian was the undisputed master of the Roman world. There were no rivals left. He returned to Rome a hero. But he was clever. He knew Romans still hated the idea of a king. So, in 27 BC, he performed a political miracle. He stood before the Senate and announced he was restoring the Republic, handing all his powers back to them. The grateful senators, many of whom owed their careers and lives to him, begged him to stay. They showered him with honors and titles, eventually granting him the name Augustus, the revered one. It was all a brilliant facade. While claiming to be the first citizen, Augustus held all the real power, command of the army, control of the treasury, and the final say in law. He had done what his great-uncle Caesar could not. He had become an absolute ruler while preserving the illusion of the old system, and so the ultimate irony was complete. The men who stabbed Caesar to save the Republic had, through their actions, triggered the very chain of events that destroyed it forever. In killing a dictator, they had cleared the path for an emperor. The Roman Republic was dead. The Roman Empire had begun. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Caesar's death a tragedy or a necessity? See you in the next video.